Welcome everybody. I am going to actually be doing this picture in real time as opposed to in the sped up way I've done it in the past. So I'm going to be drawing a picture of Nora and LeVar for their birthday since it's coming up next month, or I guess it's this month now. The time I'm recording this, it's next month. I just wanted to kind of go over some things about an anniversary that happens to be today, the day I'm posting this. And that is the anniversary of when I moved to Walt Disney World to work for the first time. So there are many different programs that Disney offers for people from other countries around the world to come and work there for a few months to a year. I think 2 years is the top one, or at least it was at one point. I will say everything I'm going to tell you right now has to do with when I worked there, not so much when, like how it is now or how it will be in the future. So let's get into the job itself and what I did while I was there, because a lot of people were wondering. So let's get into it. So for those that do not know, Walt Disney World is massive. It has 4 theme parks in it. You guys have probably heard of some of them, if not all of them. But there's Magic Kingdom, that's where Cinderella Castle is. Epcot, which is where I worked. Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom. Why am I forgetting that one? Yeah, so Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom are the 4 theme parks within Disney. They also have 2 water parks, a downtown district area where you can kind of go shopping, and countless hotels. And so that's where I was working. So in doing this program, you can either be put in Epcot or Animal Kingdom, and it will depend on what country you're from as to what area you're going to end up being in. As you can see, Epcot is separated into 2 areas, mainly. We have Future World, which has all the rides like Soarin' and Mission Space, and of course Spaceship Earth, which is the main symbol of Epcot. And then you have the other side, which is World Showcase, which has many different countries from around the world, each having like little landmarks, showing off little landmarks that are recreated, so that guests can go and see them. And the best part about Epcot and that area is that each of those areas are staffed by people who actually are from those countries. So if you ever wanted to travel to, say, Norway, you can now go to the Norway Pavilion and actually talk to somebody who lives there, who's from there, who grew up there, who can tell you the best things, the best places to eat, the best things to see, and the things that are hidden gems that you never knew about, that you can find out from an actual person who is from that country. As many of you guys know, I am Canadian, and so of course I worked at the Canadian Pavilion while I was there. So now that you guys sort of know a little bit about the job, we'll go back to it before the end of this video is over, but I wanted to kind of go over the process of how I got the job. This is different depending on the country that you're in, and it might even be different now with COVID going on. Let's talk about my process of getting in. Sort of. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because it's kind of long. It took a while. I did not get in on my first try. Technically my first try doesn't really count because I applied, but it was past the deadline to apply, so they just told me to reapply again. But that time also I didn't get in. So I made it to the phone interview, which is the first step, and I failed the phone interview because I suck at talking on the phone. But so what you do for doing it is you apply, send in your resume just like you'd expect, and then they'll call you if you make it to the phone interview. You'll have a phone interview with them. They ask you some questions. For this program in particular, they ask you questions about your country. They might ask you about previous job experience. And like a lot of the things, I remember like one of the questions being like, if you were talking to a guest who was interested in coming to your country, what would you tell them to visit or do or something? And it was perfect timing for me because by the time I was getting ready to do my phone interview, I had just gone dog sledding, which I thought was the greatest thing. And you can actually see the video, I believe I still have it up, available on my YouTube, of when I went dog sledding. In fact, I'll probably put a little thing up in the corner for it if you guys want to watch it. That was an awesome experience. I totally recommend it. Had a fantastic time. I spent most of the time driving the sled, which is exactly what I wanted. It was worth every penny and one of the greatest birthday gifts I ever had from my parents. So anyways, after you have done the phone interview, if you are accepted, they will send you an email and tell you when you can come to the face-to-face interview. The face-to-face interview normally is in like a major city in your area. Mine was in Toronto, which is not that far from me, so it was perfect. I could hop a bus and go to Toronto. I went the night before. One thing I also suggest is if you're ever doing a face-to-face interview and you have the opportunity to meet with the other people who are going to be interviewed, try to meet up the night before. Have like a little get-together dinner or something like that. Because I feel like that really helped us sort of be friendly and outgoing with each other, so it looked like we were really friendly people. Now, of course, we were really friendly people, but I'm just saying that it just helped it. If anyone was kind of shy, at least gave them that boost. Like, I felt way more confident being with my group of friends. We all met the night before, hung out, got to know each other. They're my friends. So it looked a lot better, and every single one of us from that group got hired, which is pretty cool. So yeah, my face-to-face interview was in Toronto. And so I just had to take a bus there. One of the people in the group that I hung out with was a friend of mine from college. I actually mentioned the program to her and the two of us applied together. As you probably guessed from what I said earlier, she also got in. And actually she had a YouTube channel and I was featured in some of her videos, which is pretty cool. After the face-to-face interview, it's normally like about 2 weeks before you'll either find out you were accepted, you're on the waiting list, or they didn't accept you. And I don't know if they tell you. I think they do tell you that you weren't accepted, which is good, at least so you know you're not waiting. But don't give up. If you are not accepted and you really want to try again if you have the opportunity. So that's my whole process. I got accepted 2 weeks after. My friend got on the waiting list, and she was on the waiting list for 2 months. And then she found out she got the job, and then she was moving to Florida like less than a month later. So it was pretty intense for her. Whereas me, I found out I was getting the job on, I think it was like February 14th or 15th, around then. And I was leaving, my arrival date, of course, as you can probably tell, was December 2nd. Okay, moving on. So when you're there, we're going to talk a little bit about the living situation. There is, Disney used to have housing complexes. I'm saying used to, but keep with me here. They used to have a bunch of housing complexes. There was, when I moved, there was, of course, Vista Way, the Commons, Chatham Square, and new apartments, which was Patterson Court. They were just made within the time before, like when my friend arrived to when I came, they were being built and they were finished by the time I got there. I ended up living in the Commons, which definitely was my favorite. I did have an experience in another contract living at Patterson Court. I didn't like it. Some people might. My reasons for liking it is kind of an obscure reason. Didn't like how they set up the bathrooms. I will never understand this whole having the sink outside the bathroom when the bathroom is connected to your bedroom. So, and you share a room with another person. So it's like, if they get up and go to the bathroom or have to get up early for work and I'm trying to sleep, then I have to sit there and listen to their shower, or not their shower, but them brushing their teeth or washing their face or doing their makeup. You can't do that the same. Like, it's different if it's out in the living room, but when it's in your bedroom, it was stupid. I didn't like it at all. I hated it, and my roommate and I had very different hours. She worked at Magic Kingdom, I worked at Disney's Art of Animation at that time. It was crazy. But that was a very, very different contract. That's not the one we're talking about this time. If you guys want to know more about that, I'm perfectly fine with telling you guys, because that was quite a very different experience. Nothing quite like this one at all. This one was way better, easier to do. I lived at the Commons. Commons have washing machines in them. They had great bathrooms, despite the fact that the door didn't lock on the one bathroom. And I have a video of that as well. Maybe I'll link that one up above too, because that was funny. That the bathroom door didn't lock. If you turned it one direction it would lock, and if you turned it the other direction it wouldn't lock. So that was my way of locking people out of my bedroom area when I didn't want them in there, but still being able to get into the bedroom myself, because all you had to do is just turn it the other way and go in. And then from the bathroom you can go into your bedroom. Anyways, I say that Disney used to have these complexes, but now I don't know if they still have any of them. I don't know whether they just got rid of all of them, or whether it's just the ones over in the one area. Like you got the Commons, Chatham, and Patterson Court all were in the same area. So I don't know whether they just got rid of those ones and kept Vista Way and now have their new housing complex. But their new housing complex is amazing. There are videos out there for it, so if you guys are like seriously thinking about doing the program, or you just randomly want to see what these housing complexes look like that Disney cast members get to live in, then check out, just search on YouTube, Flamingo Crossing, I think it is. If it's anything different, check the description. I'll put it in the description, I promise. And you'll get to find out more about it, maybe have a tour on there, like get to see a tour of the housing complex, because it is amazing. Any of you guys that get this job after COVID's over and you guys are able to stay there, I'm jealous, okay? It looks so cool. Okay, so now finally I want to get on to the job itself. So in the Canadian Pavilion where I worked, we had 3 main choices that we could work at. Food and beverage, merchandise, and attractions. Attractions runs the big Circle Vision Canada 360 movie, which is really, really cool. It's like a big theater you walk into. It's inside the waterfall there. And you walk into this movie theater that has a movie theater screen on every wall all the way around you. It's like a big circle. And you can see, it makes it feel like you're almost there. It's really neat. They even have bars and stuff so you can lean on, because you might actually feel like you're moving, but you're not. So that's attractions. You do that, and you can do KidCot, like you're, as an attractions cast member, you work at KidCot and the attractions. Again, that may have changed. That might be merchandise that does KidCot now or whatever. When I worked there, attractions did KidCot. It was part of their rotation that they had. Another one was merchandise. So there were several different, I think there's 2 shops? Might just be 1 shop. My friend is the one, she worked in merchandise. So you got at least a shop for Canada stuff. They have all kinds of Canadian stuff. It's kind of in sort of like a log cabin kind of thing. And outside there's a cart. And you have shopping there that you can do. So you can either be working at one of those 2 or stocking shelves, I think. Again, I didn't work in either of those 2, attractions or merchandise, so I can't tell you really details about it. I'm getting close to the end of this video, so I gotta go quickly here. The main one that I worked at, and the easiest one to get into, is food and beverage. And so I worked at Le Cellier Steakhouse, and I worked at the popcorn cart. Popcorn cart, as you can guess, you serve popcorn and beer and pop to people. It's pretty easy. At the restaurant, you started out as a host, then you could move to a signer or server. Obviously, servers make a lot more money, it's where everyone wanted to go, but I never was really into the server thing myself, so I just stayed as a host, and I had a fantastic time. I never ran out of money, but I also didn't do anything too crazy. I went to the movies every week, I remember doing that. I remember having more than 1 paycheck that I hadn't even cashed yet, because I just used to get the check itself and cash it at the store. I wanted to go there and just have a good time. I didn't want to stress out about money. I didn't want to do anything like that. I just wanted to have a good time. Some of the countries have all 3 of those options. Some of them only have the merchandise and food and beverage option. So it just depends on your country and where you're working. Again, if you work in Animal Kingdom, it's very different. or Animal Kingdom Lodge are the two places. And I think that that's more if you're from any of the African countries or Asian countries. You can possibly get put in there. They'll determine as to what area you're going to be going into, and then that's where you go if you want to go. So I was editing this video and I just realized that I forgot a few things that I wanted to talk about. So I'm just going to put them in here at the end. One of the things I want to talk about is roommates. So when you have these housing complexes, you are actually going to be living with people from all around the world, especially if you're doing the international programs of any kind. In the past, and I don't know if they still do it, if you are from the States, you live with people from the States, but if you are from the international programs, you live with people from other countries. So for example, I had roommates from Germany, France, Italy, Norway, I feel like there's someone else in there, England. I think that's about it. Over my 1 year of being there, I had roommates from those countries, and they just sort of like rotate in and out. Back when I did it, they had it where you'd go into a house, like go into an apartment that has already some people in it, and then you would be able to learn from them, and then by the time they're moving out, new people would come in, and so on and so forth. But yeah, that was my experience of being there, and everyone has different experiences. So if you have like a culture that you really like, that is one of those countries, it's really neat because you get to go and experience the food, the language. The people might teach you their language. You might be able to teach someone else your language, your customs, your food, and all that. It's a really neat thing. It's a really unique experience that you don't really get too many other places. Another great thing about working at Disney is you get discounts on everything pretty well, and you get free passes to Disney. For yourself, I'm just going to mainly talk about yourself. There, you do get free passes to get other friends and family in. I'm not going to go into detail on those because those have probably changed over time, and I don't want to give you the wrong information there. So yeah, you can get into the parks for free. So just imagine the next time you have a day off work and you're just like, man, I don't know what to do with my friends. You know, we could go to the same mall we've been to 100 times. You know, but if you worked at Disney, it's, oh, well, we can go to Magic Kingdom for the day, you know? And you have pretty much unlimited chances of going to the parks when you work there. The only times, there are certain days that there are blackouts and you can't use your own pass to get in or bring family in. And those are like the big holidays like Christmas Day and New Year's Day or New Year's Eve, probably both. New Year's Eve you don't want to go. So, especially if you're working there. Anyone who's ever been there for New Year's Eve? Nah. No, watch a YouTube video instead. It's much better. It's a great experience, I guess, if you're there, but holy cow, there are way too many people. And, so another thing I want to bring up is also parties. Housing itself had parties for us. So like you'd randomly be walking by sometime and there'd be like free pizza and cookies and hot dogs, and it would just be random too, which was great. So you just sort of were like hungry that day and you're walking down to the clubhouse and oh, there's a party going on. I'm gonna wander in, get some free food, head back out, do whatever else I want to do that day. Maybe play some games while I'm in there. They had pool parties and games and all kinds of stuff. There's always things going on. There's never like a quiet day, really. Like there can be if you live further back into the complex, but there's always something going on. So I think at this new housing, it's going to be mainly at the clubhouse, and you probably won't experience it the same as the other ones where you're like right there all the time. So if you want something to do, there's always something to do. If you don't want something to do, you can get away from everything going on around you. But there's also personal parties. We had every Monday nights at Epcot. Probably heard this before, maybe not. They have the crazy parties. And I didn't take part in them as much as I thought I would. I'm not a big drinker, I never have been, so I personally ended up falling into the group of Canadians that didn't drink, and we got together and played board games every Monday night. So you still had that social life, but you didn't have to go out and get drunk and then try and go to work the next day, right? Remember, you are there to do a job. Yes, you can have fun and have a great time, but you gotta do a job. So, another thing I wanted to bring up with this is the requirements of working at Disney, and they are different depending on what program you're in. But there is two major ones that are the same no matter what. You have to be at least 18 years or older to go. I highly suggest, if you're able to, wait until you're 21, especially if you do like to drink. Just because if you drink when you're under 21, doesn't matter what age you can drink in your country, but if you drink when you're under 21 in Florida, you are breaking the law. You break the law, you go back home, okay? So it's much better to just wait until you're 21 if you have the opportunity to. If you're doing the college program and you're not going to be 21 and still in college, then maybe you gotta do it. But if you're doing like the cultural representative program like I did, I was 22 when I got the job, so I never had to worry. Not that I drank a lot, but I just never had to worry. I could have alcohol in my apartment, there was no problems. That's just one of those things that was never on the list of things that could get me fired. Language. Probably if you've been able to listen to this video and understand anything I said, you have a fairly good grasp of the English language. And you can probably get the job. Because you're going to have to be able to talk to people in English and listen to them talk to you in broken English and English. You will be working using the English language. So it's great for people who maybe don't know English as well and they want to build their skills on using English. You will be pretty fluent in English by the time you get back. But you need to at least know how to communicate in English because you will be working in an English-speaking environment. And you also need to be, especially this is for the cultural representative program, you need to be from the country that you're representing. I can't just be going to the UK to get, to go to school or something and get over and then come over to Disney and represent the UK because I don't know the UK. I didn't grow up there. I didn't live there all my life. Now, when it comes to like maybe you got married to somebody, the only thing is you can't bring your family with you. So you're probably less likely to have been married to somebody and be doing one of the programs. You might marry somebody who you meet at the programs, but you're probably not married and then coming and doing the programs. It's possible, but I don't know what they do in that situation, but I think you actually really have to represent that country because people are going to come and ask you about that country and they're expecting you to have real answers, not, tourist answers. So, as I said, I gotta start closing this up now, but as I said, COVID right now is kind of putting a damper on these international programs. If you are interested, I am putting a link in the description to where you can find out more about the international programs. These are for people who do not live in the United States. Okay, if you are from the United States, you can get a job, just a normal way of getting a job, or you could do the college program. So just search that and I'm sure you'll find it, Disney College Program. If you're from the States, you'll find out all about that. Otherwise, you can just get a job at Disney because you don't need any special visa to get there or anything like that. Whereas international people, we do. So I will be putting a link there and it will have the different programs. You'll just have to search the website and find out what you can find out what's new, what's changed. I just want to give you guys the tools if you guys want to check it out. If you don't want to check it out and just wanted to hear about my time there, I hope that this sort of gave you an idea. And hopefully you guys have enjoyed this little conversation. I will be inking this picture next week, and I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about. So I might do the recording for the talking closer to that week. So if you guys have any questions, if you guys ask them within the next week, I will probably get to them in the next video. If not, then the video after, okay? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this experience, and I will see you guys next week with the inking of this picture of Nora and LeVar. Bye-bye!